Yuji has gotten a lot more powerful. Yuji's still injured, he's just performing feats that are really crazy. Hey, what's up everybody? It's LeeLos, and today we're talking about why Jujutsu Kaisen Season 3 is incredible. Stay steady in pursuit of your dreams and goals. You're born to win, you're made for greatness, and I definitely believe in you guys. Keep up the great work each and every day. So let's get started with talking about these new episodes. Today we're going to analyze episode 1 and 2 of Jujutsu Kaisen Season 3, and we'll go over some of the things that might be a bit confusing for people seeing this episode for the first time, and there'll be no manga spoilers at all, so you don't have to worry about any of that. First off, these episodes were just genuinely insane. Incredible episodes. Overall, just incredible episodes. It's kind of gotten to the point with Mappa, you might as well just expect every episode they make to be better than it needs to be. I went into these episodes with pretty high expectations and I still was very impressed anyway. Episode 2 actually just looked like a movie for a large portion of it, if not honestly just the entire thing. Jujutsu Kaisen, out of all of the new gen anime, it feels the most like what Naruto used to feel like. Like when I was watching part 1 Naruto for the first time, out of all of the new gen anime, Jujutsu Kaisen is the closest to that same feeling, at least for me. Now, essentially what we're seeing in these episodes are the effects of what happened after Gojo got sealed, because the moment Gojo got sealed, everything got messed up so quick. This character, we'll just call him Fake Geto for now. He released over 1 million curses at the very end of Shibuya, and now curses are pretty much everywhere, just messing people up. The Fake Geto said this is essentially like the Heian era again, so maybe this is what the Heian era was like too. We get introduced to Naoya. Naoya is the son of the head of the Zening clan. We saw the head of the Zening clan back in Shibuya. He was that old guy who had the projection sorcery technique. That guy ended up dying from the wounds he got from Jogo and Dagon. A big part of episode 1 is deciding who the next clan head is going to be. Originally it was going to be Naoya, but because Gojo was sealed, there was a rule in the contract that ended up making Megumi become the clan head instead. So now Naoya's trying to hunt down Megumi, and in his mind he's thinking if he gets rid of Megumi, then Naoya will become the leader like he was originally supposed to be. We see that Yuji and Choso have just been busy killing curses. Yuji has gotten a lot more powerful, which is to be expected because we saw him perform some crazy feats when fighting Mahito. This is the same Yuji who beat evolved Mahito when he was working together with Todo. He might have gotten even stronger since then. Choso states that his cursed energy control has gotten a lot better, on top of his insane physical strength. There's also some dialogue about Sukuna that hasn't been fully explained yet in the anime. In the manga, they say that Yuji hasn't fully recovered from his injuries before he starts fighting Yuta. That makes everything Yuji performs against Yuta even more impressive. Here in the anime, they say a similar thing. They say that Yuji has recovered from pretty much everything except for the black flash that he was hit with. A bit later, Choso says that this shows he wasn't in top shape until now. If you were debating it, maybe you could argue that in that brief moment from them having their discussion to now fighting these curses, now Yuji's in top shape. The actual interpretation is no, Yuji's still injured, he's just performing feats that are really crazy. Overall, his combat ability is far better than it was when Choso last fought him, and this actually might just be the best Yuji's ever been, but he's still injured. So another thing I really like about Jujutsu Kaisen is they waste no time getting to fight. Naoya said he was gonna go hunt down Yuji, and then like 5 minutes later he's actually fighting Yuji. In other anime that would be like a 5 episode later thing, but in Jujutsu Kaisen it's like no, they just get right into fighting. They really did extend a lot of the Naoya fight scenes. Naoya is strong in the manga, but they're making him look even stronger in the anime. Yuta's entire fight with Yuji, you can make an argument that Yuta, even when he's fighting him 1v1, is holding back so that he can kill Yuji in a way where he can just revive him immediately afterwards. Also, Yuta holding back is shown pretty clearly by him not using Rika until the very end of the fight. Rika was so powerful that Yuji couldn't move when Rika grabbed onto him. So that shows you how powerful Rika is. So episode 2, as I was saying before, it has movie level animation. The Choso versus Naoya fight was actually incredible. Choso actually might have had a good point with what he was saying to Naoya, because Naoya was insulting his brothers for being weaker than he is, and then Choso was like, well, have you considered that maybe you're strong because your brothers are weak? Like them being weak might have motivated you to become more powerful. That's actually interesting dialogue, and he probably had a point with it too. He might have just been right. His brothers are kind of weird, insulting Toji because Toji doesn't have cursed energy and he has to use cursed tools, but his brothers themselves are also using weapons, so they're really not that different. He brought up some interesting dialogue that like gives you insight on kind of how the Zening clan thinks. Naoya was saying that it's kind of embarrassing to him to not be able to beat someone without using a weapon. Like, he thinks he should just be able to beat them using his Jujutsu sorcery, using his curse technique. But it also just shows you the Zening clan is just genuinely diabolical. Everything about them is pretty weird, to be honest. They're all a bunch of weirdos except for Maki and Megumi, basically. So they're all strange, man. We get an interesting scene between Megumi and Yuji where Yuji is feeling very guilty over all the people that Sukuna killed in Shibuya. Megumi's telling Yuji, basically he's trying to pull Yuji back into the Jujutsu world. In a way, Megumi was like the guy that got Yuji into the Jujutsu world in the first place. I mean, it wasn't really Megumi's fault. Like, Megumi was the one who told Yuji, you can't fight cursed spirits unless you have cursed energy. And then Yuji ate a cursed finger like immediately after that and got possessed by Sukuna. So in a way, it's kind of Megumi's fault, because if Megumi was just strong enough to beat that cursed spirit on his own in the first place, then Yuji probably wouldn't have done that in that very scene. But there is a chance Yuji would have just ended up in Jujutsu sorcery some way or another anyway. Megumi has guilt for bringing Yuji into the Jujutsu sorcery world in some way, and Yuji has guilt for not being strong enough to resist Sukuna's control. So they both have guilt about these things, and Megumi's the one who's bringing him back into the Jujutsu sorcery world again. Kind of just interesting dialogue. It's like he brought him in the first place, and now he's bringing him back into it again. So basically, Yuta was like the original main character, and then Yuji is the real main character. So it's kind of cool to see the original main character and the actual main character just interact with each other. And Yuta, in general, probably just understands Yuji better than most other people would, because Gojo saved him in a very similar way to how Gojo saved Yuji. There's one scene where they list all of the rules of the Culling Games, and it'll just make sense as you see the rules actually being acted out. They'll make more sense as the series goes on. But a basic summary of like what the rules were saying is the Culling Games are basically like a giant battle tournament where it's a bunch of sorcerers just fighting each other in death battles, trying to get as many points as possible. When a sorcerer like kills another sorcerer, they gain more points. So the Culling Games is basically a giant tournament arc. That's just a quick summary of what that like paragraph of text was saying. Tengen is actually a character that's been spoken about since season 1. So Tengen is a master of barrier techniques. She also has the immortality curse technique. So she's lived for a very long time, and maybe that plays a factor in why her barrier techniques are so good, but she's actually just the best at barrier techniques. And one of the things that she does, she uses her barrier techniques to hide a lot of the dangerous items for the Jujutsu sorcerers. And right now, Tengen is hiding herself using her barrier techniques. The barrier technique she's using to hide herself is a concealment barrier, and the way it works is there's 1,000 shuffling doors, and you have to pick the right one to find Tengen, and they need to find Tengen so they can get started with all this Culling Game stuff. Choso is basically like a Dragon Ball radar for his siblings. Some of Choso's siblings are in the same area that Tengen is, so they basically use Choso like a Dragon Ball radar, and they're able to pick out which door is the correct door, and then they find Tengen. And the episode ends with them showing Tengen. Overall, really great episodes. I'd say I'd give episode 1 an 8 out of 10, maybe even an 8.5, and I give episode 2 a 9 out of 10. I'm excited to watch this weekly. Let me know in the comments if you guys would like me to do weekly episode analysis like this. Usually I do power scaling and analysis on Hunter x Hunter, JJK, and One Piece. So yeah, if you guys want me to continue doing these episode analysis, let me know. I'm happy that Jujutsu Kaisen is back. But yeah, that's everything I wanted to say. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate the views in the comments. Like and subscribe, and I'll see ya on the next one.